told my mom that a kid is a star. Don't put me in it if I am not involved. I'm trying to brace on my falls, simultaneously facing my flaws. Take a breath, need a second, press pause. Forever thankful I can still pull up and hug my grandma and shake hands with grandpa. Lost clack, holidays ain't the same, but we smoke, drink, and laugh through the pain. Sunshine used to come after rain. I'm Debo, gon' tuck out your chains. Church whoopings, cause me and cuz playing games. I walk the Witherby, I got hoop shorts I can change. Gold teeth and need a 4-finger ring. I thought the preacher was a pimp, I'm just saying. Let's go! The door is locked, so we kicking it in.
24/7. Ladies and gentlemen, Grizz Biz, my 2 cents.
Back at it. We back at it. We are back at it. Wednesday to Wednesday. Another Wednesday in the bucket. Everything happens on Wednesdays. As you can see, my co-host, I don't know what he is. One probably working. I don't know. The other one, bless their heart. I don't know. You know, what it is. You got to hold down the fort and do what you got to do because it's all about you. You got to wear all these different hats. Anyway, it's all good. Can't depend on nobody but yourself. You understand what I'm talking about? But anyway, we got a dope show coming up, man. We got a special guest, Miss Laketa Cole, when she comes on here about 7:15. If you don't know, you've been living under a rock, you know, especially if you're paying attention to the GRIZZBIZMY2SENSE podcast. We still own the city. It ain't over. It ain't over just because the news is trying to shift gears and drop little this, that, and the thirds. And it ain't over. It ain't over. So we definitely going to be chopping it up with her and her vision and just get a good understanding of the politics in Cincinnati. I got so much game to drop today. It's ridiculous. And then next week, we've got Mr. Brandon Nixon, who's running for city council too, and his campaign manager, Ms. Sharice Wilson. I believe I said that right. They'll be on the show next Wednesday. So my goal is to get everybody that's running for city council on the show and see what they talking about. See if they about that business. You understand? Because little do y'all realize that politics is really the streets. We're gonna get into that later. First off, let's go ahead and let's give me a round of applause. You understand that? I need a round of applause, god dang it. Yeah. Yes, there we go. All righty. Next, we're going to go ahead and get our sponsors and take care of them, the people that support us.
Goodies Barbecue, 7440 Hamilton Avenue, Mount Healthy, Ohio. Call 513-2641-631. Use promo code My2Cents and receive a 10% discount on your meal. Goodies Barbecue, 7440 Hamilton Avenue, Mount Healthy, Ohio. Call 513-2641-631. Use promo code My2Cents and receive a 10% discount on your meal.
Let's give Goodies Barbecue a round of applause. Like I said before, if you had a bad experience with Goodies Barbecue, go on over there. They'll make sure you take care of you and do you right. And tell them Grizz sent you and get a 10% discount. Saying my 2 cents. Once again, let's give Goodies Barbecue a round of applause. Next up, we have...
Let's get your home charging station installed the right way. Jarman Home Solutions is a licensed electrical contractor serving Greater Cincinnati and Greater Dayton, specializing in EV charger installations for all makes and models. Whether you drive a Tesla, Ford, Chevy, or Rivian, our team delivers clean, professional installs you can trust. Most installs are completed in just one day, so you can charge at home and hit the road with confidence. Power up the smart way. Call or message Jarman Home Solutions and get your garage EV ready today.
That's what's up, German Home Solutions. Let's give them a round of applause. Not only do they do electrical cars, they do all types of electric needs, whether it's residential or commercial. So check them out, GermanHomeSolutions.com, and get your electric needs taken care of. Let's give them a round of applause again. Love my sponsors. Next up, we've got Linked Up Auto Care. That's right, Linked Up Auto Care, 5850 Center Hill Drive. Go on over there if you need your car repaired. They're dependable, they have shuttle service, everything. Go on over there to Linked Up Auto Care and use the promo code My2Cents and receive a 5% discount on your service. Not only do they fix the cars, they also sell cars with Capsule Autos right next door to them, so they offer on-the-spot financing. They offer credit. It's called Snap, I believe. But hey, man, if you can't afford the cash right now, you need to get the credit. Apply with them. They can take care of you. So let's give Linked Up Auto Care and Capsule Auto Sales a round of applause. And thank them for being a sponsor. Podcast. Next up, we got www.danknation.co. You understand me? That is some of the most premium seeds you can get close to you. So if you are into growing your own marijuana, you might want to check us out. That's www.danknation.co. We got all the seeds that you need. Whether it's, I keep saying Acapulco Gold. I don't think some of y'all old enough to realize what that is. You know what I'm saying? But we got the OG Kush, we got everything, the brunch, all of it. You don't got to go far to get it. And also you can check out our samples of our Dank Nation lemonade. Infused lemonade is very, 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 very good. You can't keep enough in there. Just sample. DM me. Come see you. Also, you can check out the apparel that we have. We have some of the dopest fashion for marijuana that you ever wanted to wear. You know what I'm saying? And we also want to give out a shout out to Made You Look Clothing. That's who's been doing most of our apparel with the embroidery and so forth. And he also has the dance studio. So y'all check out Alonzo too. Let's give both of them a round of applause. And that's what's happening. I wish I could see who was on here because there's people on here, but I can't. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But anyway, we waiting for. I see people on. Like, how can I do that? Okay, there you go. He's bigger. But Mr. Rayford, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Ignorant wisdom, Quinn Rayford. That's what's happening. I ain't seen you in a minute, brother. Yeah, so we definitely talking about what's going on in the city, man. And some people might be tired of it, but each day something different comes out. You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing to me how many people is running for city council and don't know anything about these people or just bits and pieces. And I implore people to get out here and check out these interviews that these folks be doing and see what they're about. You know, it's definitely some street stuff going on when it comes to politics. You definitely have to be on your tippy toes and understand the game of politics like you understand the streets. That's why street people should be running running the politics. I'm just saying because it's wild. I've learned so many things, man. Like when we talk about corporations and what does a corporation have to do with politics? Let's say a realty group. You know, they're one of the biggest realty groups in the country and the world. Really is tied into Republican Party, and I'm sure they're on the Democrat side too. It's all they all doing this, rubbing their hands. They're palming. Yeah, they're doing some of that, right? And you got to have somebody in there that's going to be able to play the game, peep the game, understand the game, and be able to stand on business when they push back, because they're going to push back. They definitely gonna push back. They definitely think they the big dogs, and then they got their dogs. And a lot of people didn't understand when I said that the wealthy called the police the dogs. They dogs. People don't understand where the police came from. And I know a lot of racist people are gonna be like, blah, 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 blah. But the truth of the matter is the police was formed when they came over here with the poor white folks. They called them indentured servants back then, right? They had debts they had to pay out to them rich people back in their country, back in wherever they was from, London, England, all of that, whatever they was from, they had to the wealthy. So in order to pay the wealthy people off their debts, they brought them over here and had them working for them. But they formed the police, the wealthy formed the police to keep the angry, poor white folks in check and not tearing their asses up. That's what it was for. Then you incorporate them taking over the country, the people that was already there, however which way they did us, they did it, and then made us to the people right now who are racist, like we beneath them. They gave them this false sense of empowerment, which is still the same blueprint today. Same blueprint today. So the question, and it gets deeper, is what if these rules, what if these regulations, what if these tariffs, what if this, whatever these presidents doing, and I don't care which one it is, who it was, what if what they was doing is affecting everybody? Not just white folks, not just black folks, not just people of color, whatever, but it's affecting everybody. And if you take a step back and look at it and get your nose about a donkey's butt or elephant's butt, you might be able to see something like, well, damn. And this eventually goes for racist people for real too. Because you all fight for the same things and want the same things that everybody wants. They want good jobs, they want education, even though this education that they bullshitting us, teaching us is garbage, which we should go back to homeschool and go to homeschool and let parents teach it. But that job security, money, prosperity, it's the simple stuff. Should be simple. It's not. And it's affecting every one of us. Same racist dude got to go to the same job you got to go to, whether he like you or not. If he's fortunate enough to be hired on by a family member, he might make a couple more dollars than you, maybe more dollars than you. But they can't give everybody, every family member, that benefit. So some gonna fall through the crack. And that's where people fail to realize this. All the stuff that these people are doing in office, and I don't care which one, is really destroying the people. So when it comes to politics, we've got to get people involved that's going to be able to try and make a difference and make a change while we have the opportunity to do so. That's all I'm trying to say. I ain't going to talk your head off. Looks like we got a guest in the building today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a loud round of applause to Miss Laketa Cole.
Hello.
Hey. Thank you for being on the show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excited, because you setting it off for me today, setting it off for the GRIZZBIZMY2SENSE podcast. It's really setting, I think, a standard, because I'll call people out about this politics and stuff, and for you to get on here, and I've had other people since you said something about being on here, now they want to come on the show. And I think our audience is a different type of audience to what we normally have from different outlets. And I really appreciate that. So, without further ado, I'm just gonna jump right into it, and let's get a little background because this is your second time on
Correct.
city council. So, let's go back to the beginning. The first time, what made you say, "Hey, I want to run for city council of Cincinnati"?
Sure. So my background is I do have an graduate degree in political science. I worked for the former mayor, Dwight Tillery, and then I worked for Paul Booth. And at that time, I just decided that I wanted to get into the race. I felt like there were a lot of racial tensions that was around the Timothy Thomas. And I was not happy with the representation that we had. And so I'm a type of person that, as opposed to keep complaining about it, do something about it. I mean, we hear a lot of people complain we don't like the representation, but how many of them are actually taking the step to run? And so I decided to run for office at that time. And I ran, and at that time we had 26 candidates running. 15 of them were Black. And most of our people, over 2,500 votes were thrown out. We went in there and voted for all Black, which means we voted for all 15 Blacks. And just so people to know, you can only vote for 9. And so that year, over 2,500 votes were thrown out, and I lost by 1,289 votes. And so many of those were my votes. And so I went to work for the Cincinnati Empowerment Corporation. And I led the communication department as well as the workforce and development department. And then a seat became available, and I basically campaigned for that seat and became the first African American and youngest female to be appointed to Cincinnati City Council.
Let's give that a round of applause.
And that was in 2003, and then I ran and was successful the 4 terms after that.
That's what's up. So going back to Dwight Tillery, I remember those days in the Timothy Thomas. That was a wild time in Cincinnati, and just think how long ago that was, and how and we have not made any progression at all in the city when it comes to taking care of business. So when you was working for Dwight
I think
Tillery,
we
what did
had some. I think we had some steps forwards, but I do believe there still continue to be some racial disparities that continue to happen, and we need to work on those. But I will say there has been some things that has happened. We had the closing the health gap that came out of that. We had a lot of different disparities that we're trying to close the gap, but then I feel like we have went backwards. There was some progress moving forward, and then all of a sudden I felt like we've gone backwards.
Okay. So I think people in my audience, and when we talk about general conversations, we like to know what a day-to-day job consists of being on city council. Is that a 9 to 5? Do you go in? Do you have your own office? People want to know the process. Can you break that down for us?
Sure, and every office is different. I mean, every person runs their office differently. So for me, it's not necessarily a 9 to 5. For me, because at the end of the day, yes, I have things I have to get done during the day, but my people usually work during the day, so I have to make sure that I'm accessible to them in the evening as well. And so when I was on council, one of the things that I created was the neighborhood in the neighborhood, where I actually have my committee meeting as opposed to meeting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. When the average citizen is working, I had my committee meeting out in the community and at a time and location that was convenient to them. So I had each of the community councils were hosting my neighborhood's committee meeting out in their neighborhood. And so it wouldn't say 9 to 5 when you have a community council who meets in the evening.
So let me stop you right there. So if I get hired to be on city council, what is my job title? What is my job description?
You are in council. I mean, you're a council member. You're considered a council member if you got hired to be on city. What do you mean by be hired? You mean elected?
Elected. That's what I mean. Elected.
So
So
you're elected. Your title is council member.
So do you answer to the mayor?
No, you are elected by the citizens. So the mayor is not your boss.
The mayor is not your boss.
No,
So
he's elected like I'm elected.
Oh, so is that where the dispute comes in? Because is that where the issue come in? Neither one of y'all have any power over any entity?
No, you don't have. They don't have power over you, and you don't have power over them. The difference comes in is that as an elected official, I get a vote. They don't.
I am still so confused. So the mayor sits here, and you guys sit here at city council, and your job is to come up with your job as city council member is to come up or is to
We vote on issues. We vote on legislation. We vote on policies. We vote on development deals. We vote on the funding, where the money goes. Those are things that we do. And so, in order for each community to get money and funding, the council has to vote on that.
So does each city council represent a different neighborhood?
No, we run at large. It's 9 of us. As you know, the city of Cincinnati is broken down into 52 neighborhoods. And as such, each council member represents all 52 neighborhoods. So you have to get a vote from everywhere.
From everywhere. Now we get into the nitty gritty and into the meat and potatoes and stuff. Because I heard you mention developer. And one of the big things in the news, and one of the biggest arguments that I've seen over the years, correct me if I'm wrong, is contracts for these big developers. And I can name a couple, and I probably will hear later on in the show and some other ones, but there's some conglomerate developers in this city. So is this where the corruption comes in at?
Well, I mean, there could be very well be where you see, and I think what's happened is, honestly, I think this council has passed the buck to the administration to decide, whereas it's the council members who are elected to make a decision on what is good. So these council members do, they voted on, like, for example, in Hyde Park, the development deal in Bond Hill, they voted on that. But where the problem comes in for me is that they voted against the citizens who live in that neighborhood. And so at some point, when do you empower them and give them the power? I mean, to decide what's going on in their neighborhood. No neighborhood wants to be against development. Every neighborhood wants development. They want their communities to prosper, but they want the right development in their neighborhood. And they also want to be heard and want the neighbors, the developers and the neighborhoods to be have a communication going on.
Right. So yeah, that developer, that's a big problem too. I already see it because on one side you have the Democrats and the Republicans, and Republicans have developer companies that tie into their organization, just like on the Democratic side. So it's always seemed like it's a tug of war of pulling strings. It really is power versus the people.
It can, yeah. And let me be clear, I am an independent Democrat, so I'm not running on a blue ticket. I'm not running on underneath the Democratic banner, because I don't believe it's about the party, it's about the person and what you're going to do for the community. And that's what's important. I think, for me, the Black community has been taken advantage of by the Democratic vote. We continue to be taken advantage of. And I know I'm not saying vote Republican, but what I am saying is that you need to be careful. Just don't go in there and vote down a ticket because they're D's, because I feel like some Democrats are disguised and they're really Republicans. But
bingo, get a round of applause.
So and here in the city of Cincinnati, being a Democrat is a good thing, because that's what's all down there now. So of course they're all now saying they're Democrats, but are they really Democrats? Because if they are, what are they doing for the neighborhood? What are they doing for the community? And I have a problem with that. And so to me, it's not about the party, it's about the person. And so I've always been an independent Democrat, and I've always said it, because I don't vote based on and I'm gonna be clear with you again on this one. Just because you look like me don't mean you for me.
This is true. So my next question was, since you brought, why would you even associate Democrat to you if you're not on the ticket? Another candidate was talking about
because I'm still a Democrat. I was a Democrat long before many of them who are running right now, because they have a D. I was a Democrat before many of them were even out of high school. I'm still that, but I'm independent, because the reason why I say that is because a lot of my philosophies do line up. My core values do line up with the Democratic values. However, at the end of the day, I'm independent. Just because someone who's Democrat gonna say they're gonna do this doesn't mean I'm automatically gonna support it, especially if I don't feel like it's right for my community. For me, it's like, again, it's the, party is not over the politics. We need to figure out what's really going on and what they're really doing for our neighborhood. And I think continuing to rubber stamp things just because somebody says that they're a Democrat is not the right thing to do.
Yeah, me personally, I see where you coming from. Like you said, you've been a Democrat, but do you still receive some of the perks of still having that, being a Democrat but independent Democrat?
I don't know what perks there is, because there's never any perks, because the system was always broken when it comes to the Black community. It don't work for it always works for everyone else, but when it comes down to us, the system broke. So I don't know what perks there is.
So why even attach your name to it?
Because that's my, like I said before, my core values line up with the national values of what Democratic Party is supposed to be with. And so my core values are of that. So but I'm independent, because it doesn't mean I'm going to actually necessarily vote for something just because it's Democrat or they say they're Democrat. I'm going to vote based on your values, based on you. But for the most part, Democrats are about fairness, equality, making sure everyone gets an opportunity and a piece of the pie. And it's not about the good old boy network. And so those are the things that are important to me. And that's where my values come in at. And so I want to make sure that when we're talking about something, there's a level playing field and everyone's treated equally and everyone's treated fairly. So those are the Democratic values. And those are the core values for me.
I think that to me, this is on the outside looking in. The core values what are the core values? Let's go. What are the core values?
Like I was saying, equality, fairness, inclusion. Those are the things that are important to me, and those are the things that are supposed to line up with the Democratic Party. Inclusion, fairness, equality, making sure everyone gets a piece of the pie. So that's what's important to me.
Okay. But looking at the track record of both of these, Democrats and Republicans, I don't see none of that, what you stated. Now, you personally, that's a whole different ballgame, because we're talking to Laketa.
Well, that's what I said, because so it's not about necessarily always that, but the core values of the party is supposed to be of that. However, you bring it up exactly what I said. You don't vote on the party, you vote on the person. So a person can have that, say a Democrat, but are they really lining up with the core values? Are they really lining up with what you feel and what you believe? And so that's where I come in at. That's where my thinking is that's why I'm independent, because just because you say you're a Democrat doesn't make you a Democrat to me. It's what are you doing for my community, and what have you done for my community? And for me, I look at a person based on not what are you doing as now that you're elected or you're running for office, but what were you doing before you ran for office? What are you doing? And that's important to me. You see what I'm saying? So me being the vice president of the Bond Hill Community Council, I have been in my community. I'm fighting for my community. I'm a lifelong member of the Bond Hill Community Council. Those are things that I do outside of running for office. I just didn't get involved to being involved with the community council. Yeah, you ask the question, are you a member of your community council? Are you actively involved in your community council? Many of them are going to say no. So, but they'll come to the community council. And so for me, it's about what are you doing outside of running for office? Are you still being involved? Are you still helping people? Or are you just pandering because now you're running for office?
Right. And let's keep it 1,000. So when you do get in the office and those perks that work for the other people, is that basic the reason why people get in the office? Because most people get in the office and what they talking about on their campaign trail or whatever it is you want to call it, is showed way different from what it is now. So I think
some of it is true, but some of it is you realize you get in there and you think you can do one thing, and you realize, you know what, you really don't. Sometimes you realize that you don't have the authority or the power to do what you intend to do. And I'll give you an example. Not for me. I'm gonna say this, and I tell people check my record, because I'm proud of my record. I kept my promise when I ran for office, and I continue to keep my promise. And so that's why I used to always carry my voting record around when I go to a neighborhood and tell them that I kept my promise. I did what I said I was going to do. But I think also sometimes you think you can do more than what you can. I hear people on the campaign trail saying they're going to do all these things. And I'm like, well, actually, that's not underneath your authority. That's a state that can do that. You can't do that. That's something that the state, you got to run for state representative to do that. Or that's a county, you need to be running for county commissioner, or you need to be running for school board. Or we're going to do all this with the school. We're going to change the education. We're going to change the curriculum of the schools. Well, council has no control over what goes on with the schools. That's why they have a school board.
Wow. So you really have limited power.
Yeah, your power has not, sometimes your power is not over the things that you think you can do. And I don't think people understand that or know that. And so people will expect us to, like, you need to do something about these schools. Well, we really can't do anything about the schools. The only thing we can do is provide support and funding. But when it comes to policies, what's going on in the school, we have no control over. That's why you have a school board who you need to question, and people forget about that, and they need to question the school board members. They forget to question them because you vote on them.
Man, this is so deep. Like,
and we forget about the judges. I mean, honestly, we'll be down on the school board and down on the council members, but you forget to vote for your judges. And people don't think about that, particularly our community. Voting for your judges is definitely important, because guess what? Those are the people who you're going to go up in front of. You want to make sure that you're going to go in front of a judge to understand your background. And when I say that, that doesn't mean it have to come from where you are, but they understand your culture. You understand what I'm saying? They understand when, for example, your great grandma can't pay her bill and she's praying to God to give her some money, and then all of a sudden there's the bank that made a mistake and made an error and put money in her bank account, and she goes pays her bill, and then I'm giving you this because this has happened before, that she go to pay her bill with that money that was in there, and then now she done got in trouble. They done took her to court, trying to take her to jail because the bank saying she stole the money. Well, no, what happened is, if knowing our culture, our great grandma done prayed to God saying, please give me the money, help me pay my bill, and all of a sudden there's a money miraculous got put in the account. Hell, he don't know that was a mistake of the bank. I'm thinking God then help me. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I had this judge. This is a judge telling me this story, and said the judge understood because they understood that culture, whereas the other people wouldn't understand that because they don't understand what it's like to have praying parents and grandparents. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they don't understand that culture. So what I say is that you need to make sure that the buck does not just stop when you're voting for a president or voting for your council member. You need to also know who you're voting for judge, who you're voting for prosecutor, because it made no sense to me that you had people who was running for prosecutor, and yet we still elected the same exact prosecutor, and those are the ones who bring the charges. You didn't think about when Fanon Rucker was running for prosecutor, why would you not elect him? Why would you stop and not go to the polls and think about, this is somebody who you gonna go up in front of, your kids gonna go up in front of, give somebody who we know is going to go up and they're going to bring the charges. And so having a prosecutor that looks like us and understands our backgrounds, having judges there that look like us and understand our background, those are things that are important. It's not just the president, it's not just the council members, but it's also your judges.
It got to be. We had Fanon on here a couple years ago, and he gave so much insight as to the judicial system as far as the judges is concerned. Man, and it's a soap opera in itself. With the way he was explaining,
it's like Tracy Hunter. People don't understand. Like, all thing that lady did. You know why they got mad? Because she wouldn't allow the newspapers, the press, into the courtroom and over as a juvenile judge. First time a Black person was over a juvenile judge, and she said they wouldn't allow it in that court. They only wanted to put our picture on there when it's our juveniles that look like us. And she said that she wasn't gonna have them on there no more. So they got mad at her.
Right.
And then try to say she did all these different things. But when they noticed many of the charges were dropped, you know why they was dropped? Because they realized, guess what? All she did was follow along with what everyone else was doing. And she thought that was the right thing to do. So when they uncovered it, they had to figure out, this judge did that. That judge was doing those things. And so they wanted to drop all them because they didn't want them getting in trouble. So they done build up some other trumped up charges against her. And that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Swinging back to the city council. Recently, in the past couple of years, one of our peoples was incarcerated, and she was about exposing the injustice that's going down in city council. Even tried to run and so forth. And that kind of upset a lot of people, but a lot of people in our community started throwing stones, this, that, and the third, not realizing that what she was doing was trying to bring attention to the indiscretions or the discrepancies that we're talking about. How it's 9 of y'all, right? So how do you form alliances with these people? How you, because that seems like a tricky game.
Oh, it is. But you know, the thing is that you got to count. And I'm gonna say this: you got to learn how to count and figure out. And you're not always gonna have the same alliances. You know what I'm saying? There's no permanent friends and no permanent enemies when it comes to politics. You got to figure out what's good. You know, who's going to support what. And so not everyone's going to support the issues that you're interested in. So sometimes you have others supporting certain things, and it's okay, as long as you be able to count to 5, and sometimes you got to be able to count to 6 to make it veto proof. But so everyone, it may not be important to them. You know, the recreation, fully funding the recreation centers is important to me because it gives our young people some place to go, and that may not be something that is on for everyone else. And so sometimes, you know, you have to go find the votes where who's going to support your issue, and those same people who may support that issue may not support your next issue.
Yeah. The 3 that got in trouble, it was wild. It was the 2, was it the one, the dude and the young lady got in trouble when the white dude got pardoned by Trump? Is that,
Yeah.
I saying that right? What was that issue? Was they not following in line, or did they take it to, because the word on the streets, we just keep it 1,000. We GRIZZBIZMY is my 2 cents. You understand? They was sitting there. It was like they was went along with the program and then wanted more from the program.
I mean, you know, I really don't know what all took place down in there. I mean, from what I understand, the difference was, I think Sittenfield, he put it in his campaign, and other ones took them for personal reasons and not their campaign reasons. And so people donate to campaigns all the time. So I think that may have been the difference. I'm not really sure. I really don't want to talk on something that I know anything about.
Right.
What I can say about Tamaya, though, and I still have a lot of respect for her, this young lady. I think she's overcome her obstacles. I mean, we all have obstacles in a way, but I support what she's still doing in the community. I think she's still working hard. She's still trying to improve for women and for people who look like us. And I support that and I salute that. And anything she has, you know, she's had a couple of events. I've been to them, and I love hearing her talk. I love her passion. And, you know, like one of the things, it's funny that she used to say she's bring her own chair. Because I used to say the same thing. It's hard, you know, when I would say people would try to keep me out, you know, sometimes you can't knock down the wall. You got to go around it or over top of it. Whatever you got to do is get through that wall. And, you know, like she said, sometimes you got to bring your own seat to it. And I agree with that. So, you know, I can't say anything about Pastor. I don't know too much about him. But I do know what I know about Tamaya is that's someone who I support. I continue to support her. And I like what she continues to do in this community, and she didn't let that stop her.
That's what's up. Let's get a round of applause, because everybody gets painted. We always get painted a negative picture in the news, and everybody else gets this other light.
Exactly.
So definitely wanted to bring that up. So have you had a relationship? Do you know the mayor?
I don't know him personally, not at all.
Not at all. What's your opinion on take on him doing his job past few years?
I mean, the problem that I have, I mean, it's kind of hard to say something when you don't have a viable candidate. You know, at the end of the day, he's going to get elected because we didn't have anyone running against him. So we can all say, you know, he's not doing a good job, and he's not doing this. He can do better. He can do more. Right? Which I agree with. I'm not happy with the things he's doing. I felt like he failed us when it came to the fight that happened downtown. I felt like his leadership was a failure. I felt like the week before to do when we have all these shootings and things, and their answer was to do a curfew To me, that was ridiculous. I mean, the week before one of our largest music festivals, and your answer was to do a curfew. Yet still, but you didn't lay a safety plan out for what we was going to do for the music festival. When that happened, there was no cops in sight. But yet still, you have them playing security, private security through 3CDC. That's where I have an issue at. And when they, but at the end of the day, you know, would I support him versus Corey Bauman, a minion of Trump? Well, of course, I don't want the minion of Trump. So what do we have?
That's just, I'm laughing because when I have this discussion with folks, the thing I get is the lesser of two evils. And I'm sitting there like, okay, so we're actually just going to sit here and continue this cycle. And if we depended on city council members, now I'm talking to you, there's only so much they can do. It's only so much power that they have over, and it's really just voting and on certain things and so forth. But it seems like it's a no-win situation.
It is, but today, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot they can do. You know, when I was on council, I mean, I made sure that it wasn't called CCY, but it was the same thing as CCY. I made sure that was funded. You know, make sure our young people had jobs out there in life skill training. What happened to that program? You know, when I was on council, I instituted evening council meetings once a month. So therefore, our average citizen can come down there and partake in the council meeting as opposed to having to take off work if they have real issues. What happened to that? If we're supposed to be a representative government, how are you representing the people when the average citizen is working at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and can't come down and participate unless they take off of work? That's ridiculous, as opposed to why would you not have something where the average citizen who is working during the day can participate in? And that's where I have a problem. When I was on council, I made sure that happened. I made sure we had our committee meetings out in the community. I made sure this connected community that's going to change, that's actually designed, the connected community zoning is designed so the community don't have a voice. The representatives do not have anything to say about it, which is why they really didn't have no hearings on it, because they don't want to hear from you. They want to do what they want to do and don't hear from you, which is why they're doing what they did in Bond Hill, the Village of the Daybreak. Unfortunately, what they did, what people didn't realize is that was the first step when they did that. They didn't realize it was going to spill out into their neighborhoods. And now, look, it happened in Hyde Park. Now everybody's waking up because guess what? This council is going to shove down whatever they want to, and they double down on their things. And whatever development doesn't care what your neighborhood wants, they're going to do what they want to do. But people need to realize you have the power to change that. And when I say that is because you have the power not only to elect, but you have the power to unelect. And how do you unelect? By not voting for them.
Bring up a good point. Most of these people, like you said, wear 2 masks. So once they get in the office and do what they and don't do what they say they do, then we stuck like Chuck in the long run. Because listening to you, I just thought about 5 different programs that I came up with, like that would help kids and young adults. Like back in my day, it used to be the job training as far as the HAVOC, electricity, plumbing,
the apprenticeship.
That's
Right.
Yeah. I used to go to apprenticeship over at Bush. Was it Bush over by Thompson McConnell?
Yes, that's Bush. But see, that's not all just council either. You know what I'm saying? That's just not all council that's not just the council, that's other organizations as well. But yes, we do need to bring back those apprenticeship programs, you know, because college is not for everyone. So they need to learn a trade. But that's something that I do think council can, you know, tap into and support our unions with of supporting these apprenticeship programs and help move those forward. Maybe can't always fund them fully because, you know, our pot is limited, but at the end of the day, they can support it and try to put some money into it. And that's just not what's happening.
Right.
I think what they've done is pass the buck again. The Health and Human Services budget, they've passed that instead of the council taking over it. They pass it to United Way. Now, why would you want to give it to United Way when they supposed to be United Way is supposed to be funding their own programs? Why would we give our money to United Way that's costing the city even more money for them to run it? That money that's costing them, that contract that they have, we can be using that contract money for something else. We supposed to have our employees are good enough and well enough to be able to run that program. And so that's what we've had it. When I was on council, that's how it's always been. It was underneath the city. And so now you think now this council can't do the job, so they done pass it to the organization that's getting more money. Their job is to raise their own money, not take money.
Somebody approved that. Got to be friends somewhere. Got to be friends somewhere down the line, and that's the stuff that's got to stop. Because what you just said made perfectly sense. Like, why would you? United, they got their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like sometimes this politics is a lost cause. But this right here seems to be like a turning crucial point, not only with local government, but across the country as far as what's happening. And I'm really shocked. And I say this at the Democratic Party for if they're for the people and the core values that you speak of, that you have, why hasn't nobody stepped up nationally to combat this red takeover?
I can't answer that. I have no idea why. I can't.
It seemed like they're rolling over and laying down. Like they done left this, even locally, Ohio, the Democrat. It seemed like what's the problem? You're leaving this man out to dry, and then I got a problem with him too because he's a man of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those people don't like no people of color.
Right.
And you get in here thinking that you're gonna do this and rub your hands and whatever you do and this, that, and the third. And you see how quickly they turned on that dude?
Mm-hmm.
They turned so quick on him like that. Like that. And you still and people still is just amazing to me. Now let me ask you something else since we're talking about that. You was around with FOP. Wasn't Fangman back then? Wasn't it Fangman?
Yeah. Yes.
And now this another dude, Kevin or whatever his name is.
I can't think of his name, but you know what? Honestly, he seems to be a little more fair than no, not yet. Wait a minute. He seems to be a little more fair than Fangman. You know, from my understanding, like I know they didn't endorse Scotty Johnson, and he spoke out against that. He said he didn't agree with it. You know, he thought that Scotty should have got the endorsement. So I was, you know, thoroughly surprised that he would speak out against that endorsement, and I'm happy that he spoke out because, you know, because I do believe, you know, as an ex-police officer, how do you not endorse that? How do you not endorse him? Because there's a couple issues you may not agree with, but at the end of the day, I just thought that was kind of quirky for them not to do that. But I like that the president spoke out against it, saying, you know, he didn't agree with it.
So how? I mean, they well to call them the dogs. I'm gonna just call them that they're dogs. So I don't know how to say this. They seem like they have a whole lot of control of everything in this city underneath the mayor and everything. It seems like I'm watching the episode of The Wire.
I think it's just a different time that's going on, and I'm disappointed that the council doesn't say anything. That this council rubber stamps a lot of things that happen. You may not always be able to change some things, but you shouldn't still sit back and just let it happen. You know, I think it's important that this council needs to step up, speak up, and stand up. You know, I may not always, you know, me being on council, if I get elected to council, I may not always have the votes, but you best believe I'm going to stand up and I'm going to step up and I'm going to speak up. Because I'm gonna let you know where I stand at. I'm not just gonna go down in defeat. And hopefully that when I step up and speak up, maybe I can bring some other people along with what I'm saying. And that's what you have to do. You have to have the courage to step out there. Even if that means I'm stepping out there by myself, because at the end of the day, I'm stepping out there by myself for the people.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I ain't gonna sit here and talk you to death. You came on here, you answered some questions, gave us some clear views, some definitions of how things go, and the workings and so forth. And if there's something that you want to tell the people that are watching right now about what you got going on and so forth, this be the time to do it.
Sure. Yes, I do. One of the things that I want to, talk about is that particularly, when blacks are running, one of the things how you have that corruption and things is because we never get in there and support each other. We never support each other with the checkbook, and people think that, oh, I don't have the money to do that. It doesn't cost, how Barack Obama raised his money, $5 and $10. It's funny, if I go out somewhere or somebody wants to buy me a drink, well, I don't drink. Take that $10 that you was gonna buy me a drink with and donate it to my campaign, because every dollar adds up, and they don't understand that, for me to put a radio ad, it's not that much, so people could donate, whatever they have. $5, $10. I do $2 Tuesdays. $2 Tuesdays. I'm asking you to donate $2 to my campaign on Tuesday. $2, $22, $222. I'm not asking you to donate a lot, but $22, people blow that in a lunch.
So explain. I don't mean to cut you off, but explain what the funding, the $5 or the money goes for as your campaign. What will that do?
Sure. So that helps to buy radio ads. It helps to buy literature. It helps to get on the TV. It helps to get your message out there. It helps in its support. And so sometimes you have people like, well, what I'm gonna elect them for? Because they ain't gonna do nothing but go pander to the white people. They're not pandering to the white people. They're pandering to the people who supported them. You see what I'm saying? And that's what they keep forgetting. You gotta support. We gotta learn how to support each other as well. And we always think that it takes a lot. No, it doesn't. It's more of us than it is of them. So it doesn't take a lot. It just takes us to have the courage to even support or put your money where your dollar is and where your mouth is. You know what I'm saying? It's funny that people always think that, but they don't realize that at the end of the day, when I'm printing up my literature, it's costing me. My t-shirts, they cost me. That. People always want, oh, I need a t-shirt. That's $25 a pop. My t-shirts, that's costing. So I can't keep giving them out. And then they get mad because I don't give them a t-shirt. I'm sorry. I don't have the money like that. I don't have an endless pot of money, and I got to raise money. And so that's how you get that. And people don't understand, like, it's not a lot to donate to a candidate. Donate. Trust me, when you donate to a candidate, they are appreciative when you donate. Doesn't matter how big or how large or how small it is. $2, I'll be happy when I see somebody donate my $2 Tuesdays. I'm happy about it because that $2 adds up. Everything adds up. $60 to put my radio ad on. Okay, you could donate $25 this week, $25 next week. Now you done sponsored me a radio ad. It takes us longer. The black community, the black candidates is harder for us to already get elected because of the color of our skin. Now we're already behind the 8 ball. Now we're really behind the 8 ball because we can't raise the money.
Yeah. So where's your $2 Tuesdays at?
No, you just donated to my campaign.
On Tuesdays?
On Tuesdays, $2 Tuesdays is what I put every Tuesday. I put a post up saying donate to my campaign, $2 Tuesdays. You can go on my website, www.LaketaCole.com. We make it real easy because guess what? You don't have to write a check. You can donate online. All you gotta do is you can scan the QRS code. I got a link. You can click on the link. It's so easy. $2 Tuesdays every Tuesday. You don't even have to wait the Tuesday to do it. Just go to www.LaketaCole.com. You want to know what I'm about? Let me tell you what I'm spelling out with my name, Cole. I'm about collaboration and compromising. I'm about opportunities for everyone. That's what the O is for, opportunities for everyone, and being optimistic that with the right people on the bus, we can move the city forward. And I'm about L for listening, a leader that listens to you, and E for experience, because I have the experience. I'm efficient, effective, and I get the job done.
All right, let's get that a round of applause. You did that. If you can't sell yourself, I don't know what you just did. You just sold yourself. So we appreciate you coming on the show. And we wish you much success, and we hope that you do get in and that you do make some changes in the communities where you have the power to do that. And we hope other folks get on board and try and make this change. So,
well, you tell people when they go to the poll, vote for Cole.
Vote for the Cole. That's what she thought.
Vote for Cole. Vote for Cole.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Again, thank you for coming on the show. If you want to come on back in right before it's time, that's no problem
I would
at
love
all.
to.
But I thank you very much and let you get
Thank
on
you.
out of here.
All righty.
Thank you. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Miss Laketa Cole. She's running for city council again. I ain't want to talk her ear off. I ain't want to get too deep into the White Tillery days and so forth. And we got other candidates that are coming on the show too. So I don't think none that's been on the show has the experience she has. So the next candidates, well, experience in our city. The next candidate, I think, has experience in upper part of Ohio or something. So, like I said, next week we have Brandon Nixon coming to the show and his campaign manager, Sharice Wilson, coming to the show. We're looking to get Stefan Pryor on the show. We're looking to get a whole bunch of other folks on the show so we can pick their heads and see what they're about. And hopefully they can listen to this podcast and see if they can get some game. Because as you heard, this politics is a street game, buddy. And there's only so much you can do. And it's very important. But anyway, it's almost that time to get out of here. Where did I get? Oh, I got a minute. I can talk about my Bengals right quick. I hate to say my Bengals, but they're my Bengals, even though I know they scripted. Anyway, Trey is signed to the team again, so he's back. Let's get a round of applause. So they've been hushed. AFC talk has really been focused around the Cleveland Doodoo Brown, Paul Latham, Doodoo Brown. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns and the Sanders oldest and his brother in Tampa. That's what the news been focused on. And I'm here to tell y'all that Deion took care of his boys regardless of football. And he said that they good with or without football. So let's get that a round of applause too. You know, Daddy went through the trenches, got his paper, and got his sons right. You understand me? So that's what it's about. But anyway, it was a dope show. Neither one of my co-hosts showed up. Jesus, you know, some things you can't depend on nobody. You can't depend on nobody but yourself. That's what my mama told me. I watched my mama do things. My daddy too. I watched him. You know what? I'm gonna make it happen. There's no belly aching, no whining, no crying. Put your big boy boots on, strap them up, get to it. If the help come, the help come. If it don't, it don't. Like I always say, if you pan over there to that seat and it's empty, I'm going to be there regardless. I'm going to be in this chair regardless. It's my shit. My bad. I don't know. I was feeling it. It's the music. Anyway, we're going to get up out of here. I have fun. We're going to get up out of here and we're going to see y'all next Wednesday. Hopefully my co-host will be back. If not, it's all good. We got Brandon Nixon and we got Sharice Wilson on the floor. So like we say every Wednesday, don't be stuck on stupid and relax on dumb. You understand me?
It's the #1 station blazing the airwaves.
Right here, so keep it locked.
This is GRIZZBIZ, my 2 cents.
Bitches, I'm on the highway doing 9 to 9, I'm sleepless missions. Yeah. And I be tweaking if I stay with you. I be